They say Wonderland is a dream, but what if it's a nightmare built from a child's mind, twisted by obsession, death, and guilt? Tonight, we're diving into the dark, distorted world hidden beneath Alice in Wonderland. This isn't the whimsical fairy tale Disney painted in pastel. It's a story born from grief, strange obsession, and the haunting reality of a girl who may never have woken up. Because behind every talking rabbit and grinning cat is a symbol of madness, sin, and decay. Stay until the end, because the truth about who or what Alice really represents will change the way you see this story forever. Lewis Carroll, real name Charles Dodgson, was not the cheerful storyteller we imagine. He was a mathematics lecturer at Oxford, known for his shy, eccentric nature and his obsession with photography, especially of children. One child, in particular, stood out, Alice Liddell. She became the real-life inspiration for Alice in Wonderland. Carroll spent countless hours with her and her sisters, photographing them, often in odd costumes, or disturbingly, in suggestive, dreamlike poses. Rumors have followed for generations. Some say Carroll's fascination with Alice was more than innocent. Whether that's true or not, his relationship with her became the fuel for a story that feels both enchanting and deeply unsettling, as if he was trying to trap her innocence inside a fantasy he could control. When Alice falls down the rabbit hole, it isn't a magical journey. It's a descent into the subconscious. The tunnel isn't just a hole in the ground. It's a metaphor for falling into madness, or worse, death. The world she finds below, creatures who bend logic, rules that change without warning, mirrors symptoms of insanity. Each encounter represents a layer of a fractured psyche. The Mad Hatter's Tea Party, an endless loop of time, symbolizing mental illness and repetition without escape. The Cheshire Cat, that eerie smile in the dark, a symbol of deceit and disconnection from reality. The Queen of Hearts, rage and control, representing the tyranny of unstable authority. Perhaps even Carroll's own conflicted morality. And Alice herself? She's the fragile line between imagination and breakdown, a child trapped inside an adult's nightmare. Most people think Alice in Wonderland is a dream, but some scholars believe it's actually about death and the journey into the afterlife. The rabbit she chases may be a psychopomp, a symbol in folklore that guides souls to the afterlife. The fall could represent the moment of death, the drop between consciousness and oblivion. The tea party, time frozen forever, is purgatory, where the dead repeat their final moments endlessly. The decapitations and obsession off with their heads are clear references to mortality and the horror of losing one's mind or body. When Alice wakes up at the end, it's not a happy ending. It's ambiguous. Did she really wake up, or did she die, accepting Wonderland as her new reality? To understand Wonderland, we have to understand the world that birthed it. Victorian England, a time obsessed with repression, moral control, and secrecy. Every sin was buried beneath lace and etiquette. Carroll's story reflects that suffocation, eating and drinking potions, sins of temptation and curiosity, echoing even the Garden of Eden, changing sizes, a metaphor for puberty and the loss of childhood purity. Authority figures, constantly punishing or confusing Alice, mirror the cruelty of Victorian morality. It's no coincidence that the further Alice goes, the more distorted the world becomes. It's a reflection of a society so obsessed with control, it accidentally created madness in its children. What if Alice isn't a little girl at all, but something else? Some believe she's a spirit, wandering a dream world she can't escape. Others see her as Carroll's fragmented self, his guilt, his fantasies, his attempt to rewrite realities into something he could live with. Think about it. Wonderland never changes. Nobody grows older. Everything repeats, looping in eternal nonsense. It's a purgatory of the imagination, a place built to hide from truth. And Alice? She's the embodiment of denial, innocence corrupted by obsession. Years after the book's release, Carroll's friendship with Alice Liddell abruptly ended. Nobody knows exactly why, but something happened. He was banned from seeing her family again, and his diaries from that time were deliberately torn out and destroyed. That missing piece of his journal has become one of literature's darkest mysteries. Some claim it was because he proposed marriage to Alice when she was still a child. Others believe it was something even worse. Whatever it was, Carroll buried it deep, inside the pages of Wonderland. Each riddle, each twisted scene feels like a man confessing something he couldn't say out loud. A secret hidden in fantasy. Disney's version of Alice in Wonderland polished it all into bright colors and sing-alongs. But if you strip away the gloss, what remains is a story of death, madness, and forbidden obsession, disguised as a children's tale. That's why the story still feels off. Even when you watch the cartoon, there's something in your gut that says, this isn't right. It's that uncanny dissonance, the collision of childhood innocence and adult darkness, that makes Alice in Wonderland truly disturbing. So, the next time you see Alice following that rabbit, remember she's not chasing curiosity. She's chasing her own ghost through the corridors of a dying mind. The tea, the smile, the queen. They're all fragments of something much more human and much more horrifying. And maybe that's why Wonderland still calls to us. Because deep down, we all have a rabbit hole we're afraid to fall into. If you thought Alice's nightmare was dark, wait until you see what Disney tried to hide in their next fairy tale. Watch the video on screen before the rabbit hole closes.